up, G-Show land, and welcome to another episode of the G-Show podcast. I am G1, and this is the Godzilla Block Party. And yes, it's another GVK spoiler review, but this time, it's opposing views. See, yesterday, when we did the podcast live, we were pretty much all on the same page. Except for my buddy JR, who couldn't make it to the live show. So I got him here today to sit down one-on-one, and I need him to air his grievances with this movie, because right now, JR, you're the only person I know that did not like this movie. So I can't wait to get into it with you and see what was it that made you crazy. But anyway, welcome back to the G-Show, my brother. Good to see you.
It's good to see you too. Thanks for having me on. Again, million messages I sent you yesterday. I apologize.
No, I loved everything. No, and so, all right, just a heads up. Initially, he sent me his review, right, through Messenger in about 45 to 55 second snippets. And he sent about 35 of those things. So he had all that up, man. We were going over a half an hour of just JR's review. And what I was going to do was come on, right, like this, and record it all. I was going to record an intro, then let you go for broke, do your whole thing, and then record an outro. But when I went to sleep last night, you messaged me and was like, you actually can go today. So that's why we're here. I'm more excited about that. I had no problem doing the other thing, but I'm more excited like this because that one-on-one feel to play off of each other. And really, I need to pick your brain. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most. So without further ado, I've said my piece yesterday. Everybody heard what I had to say, and I'm going to say some more today. But JR, the floor is yours.
All right, let's cue that Godzilla theme song from Godzilla Vs Kong, because I'm coming out the bad guy here.
Oh, boy.
So, my initial thoughts on Godzilla vs. Tron 3. I'm sorry. Godzilla vs. Adam Wingard's meth pipe. Fuck, I fucked it up again. I'm sorry.
Wow. Oh, right off the bat.
I had to carry those jokes over. They were solid yesterday.
Right off the bat, huh?
So, I fucking hated it. Like, it's not even just a little bit of a hatred. It's massive. And we'll get into all of it, but just a quick, step-by-step chart here. Bullet points, if you will. Music. Wasted characters. Story. CG, which we'll talk about. Monster movement. Characteristics of the monster. And this was all after the first viewing. I sat there, I was really into it. And then I watched it the second time, I was like, oh, fuck, all of it. I thought I was just pissed. Because when I watched King of the Monsters the first time, I fucking hated it. I really did. But that second time, I loved it. And then the more I watched it, that's my favorite Godzilla movie now, is King of the Monsters, which a lot of people give me shit for. I'm like, no. You gotta understand. I don't care about humans 90% of the time. The way the monsters are portrayed in it is my favorite.
Okay.
And that's why, I can rewatch that movie over and over again, and I love it so much. And that's where we get into this movie. It's like this movie is the opposite of the rest of the MonsterVerse movies, in a nutshell.
I totally agree with that in terms of where G14 started off in a very real world place where if there were giant monsters to come up, that's exactly what it would look like. And then you come to the end of the MonsterVerse, which honestly at this point in time I don't want it to end. No. Hashtag continue the MonsterVerse. Then you come to, and it is completely bonkers, sci-fi fantasy. All bets are off, and yeah. So I get what you're saying. How it's just completely different.
It's fucking jarring, because even King of the Monsters pushed that envelope, but it was still somewhat grounded. The monsters moved a little bit faster. it didn't bother me as much as these motherfuckers literally remind me, in Godzilla vs. Kong, remind me of Terror of Mechagodzilla, where Godzilla's running with all the explosions in the background and shit.
That was an homage. That was one of my favorite parts of this movie because that's one of my favorite parts of all Godzilla history. Terror of Mechagodzilla. I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying. I love that. I absolutely love that.
Oh, I loved it too back in the 70s.
What? Well, you're saying that Godzilla, because he's so bulky and behemoth, he can't run like that.
It's not necessarily that. It's the fact that they grounded it for 3 other movies in reality. And even Godzilla ran once in King of the Monsters, and that's one of those ones where I'm like, I scratch my head. I'm like, and I let it go because it happens once. This movie, it's like, dude, he's running a triathlon.
Nah, he only ran that one time when Mechagodzilla came up.
But I guess we'll get into that part first.
Yeah, definitely.
They are fast in this movie. Really fast. Like, dude, I didn't feel the impact of a lot of the blows because it was just so much visually in my face so fast. I'm like, I can't distinguish. And I've never had this problem before. Where I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. I fucking follow the Transformers movies. As much as I hate them, I could still depict what's happening on screen, even though it's a visual fucking noise. But this movie, I was like, hold on, is Godzilla biting Kong? No, Kong's already flipped him. Hold on, can we pause the... No, I'm in a theater. I don't know what happened. There's a third viewing later. Oh, that's what happens. Okay.
My God.
They're fast. And one thing I really was hyped for before the movie came out is, like, if I wish they would have played off of, is that Godzilla would be slow but powerful. Kong would be fast and agile. And I really wanted to see that dynamic. I always thought, like, if we're going to go into this movie again after almost 60 fucking years, I think the original came out 59 years ago, roughly.
Yeah, around 63, I think, yeah.
Yeah. So I was sitting there, I'm like, I'd really like to see them play off each other's strengths, How about characters talk about that, Godzilla, if he lands a hit on Kong with his tail, for instance, it's going to break a few ribs. Yeah, but Kong's really agile, he can bob and weave, and it just didn't. And I love the fights too. I know I complained about the speed of everything, but god damn it, I still love the fights.
Yeah.
But I wish it was an aspect that was played up. Instead, we've got Monkey crawling away because Godzilla just got done throwing him through buildings by his arm with his mouth. Godzilla's crawling after him, scratching his chest. I'm like, what? No, man. Like,
dude. This was like the ultimate battle for supremacy at this point, and I loved it.
But it was so short.
Well, you know what? In terms of giant monster battles, maybe, but the way this movie seemed to set it up, I mean, he even says it after Kong knocks Godzilla out, he goes, guess round 2 goes to Kong. It felt like rounds, like 3-minute rounds, But in those 3 minutes, I mean, the amount of action, like you said, the fights... You can't deny it.
I can't.
They were amazing.
Can't. And I'm going against the grain, and I just want to let a lot of people know here. I've watched reviews, people analyzing this movie, which was not much to analyze. It's as simple as fucking can be. And people are loving it. Even, like, reviewers I thought would fucking hate it, and they're like, that was good. I'm like, what is wrong with me?
Yeah, that's what we all want to know. Honestly, when you were like, "No, I fucking hated this," everybody in the messenger chat was like, "What?"
Yeah, well, beyond that, I put it in Anthony's bitches chat.
Oh no!
And I got lit the fuck up. I posted just that, and everyone, there's like 20 people in there, everyone started blasting me. I'm like, I'm not gonna say a fucking word, because I know, especially Faggot, he was up my ass with these, what the fuck, JR, what the fuck?
You know what it was, right? his spirit came down from wherever it was, and he possessed everybody. Was like, you're out of your fucking mind. Or he came down and possessed you to troll every fucking body. That's what happened. Rest in peace, brother. That's what happened.
Know. I wish you could have seen this movie. Oh, we would have gone into it so bad because I know we would have loved it.
Oh yeah. Oh, you kidding me? They would have been one of the funniest things. I mean, so all right, yeah. No, keep going because I hear your complaints and they're not unfounded. I mean, I get what you're saying.
Oh yeah. So, for me too, the fights between Godzilla and Kong, I feel like was shortened up so they could throw in Mechagodzilla.
Well, I always went into this movie believing that there was going to be something else that he had to fight. I mean, the ending of King of the Monsters showed that.
Oh no, and I'm fine with it. I am totally fine with it. But I feel like, between the boat scene and the Hong Kong scene, we could have one in between maybe, and then the end fight, you could have the Mechagodzilla. Just one more little scrap. Maybe fucking Godzilla followed them all the way to Antarctica. Godzilla burst through the ice, and then fucking, it's like, oh shit, we need to get Kong down that fucking tunnel. And Kong's like holding off fucking Godzilla or something. Kong's looking for a way out, and then he sees the tunnel. Instead of the little girl trying to convince him to get in the tunnel, Kong's holding him fucking off, and finally, he's like fucking dips, like maybe gets a fucking iceberg that's laying around or a giant rock under the snow or flings his poo. I don't give a shit. Hit Godzilla in the head, knock him into the mountain, then Kong dips and slides into the tunnel. It would have added a sense of urgency, more so. And I think that's where this movie should have been 3 hours long.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying there, because I think we all came to an agreement that if this movie was longer, and it didn't even matter about the human story, the story itself, but if this movie was longer, we could have got a lot more fights, but the movie might have cost a lot more money. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure it would have. But fuck, it's making money right now, dude. And it was the lowest budget out of all of them because King of the Monsters flopped.
Yeah, King of the Monsters was $250? I think the budget for that,
it made the money back for the overall production of the film, not the advertising.
Right. And
so it flopped.
And that's why Pandemic, and I hate the Pandemic, but that's why the smog monster Hedorah flying around the world helped this movie in terms of marketing. They didn't have to go and rent out giant spaces and do crazy things. Although I will say, if you look at the China marketing for this movie and China's opening day, oh my God, man, China, you did it right. You did it right. It was gorgeous. I loved it.
Oh no, I'm glad it made money because it's showing Toho hey, it's making money. Don't renew that contract. Renew that contract. There's places we can go with this.
Right. Stick to animation right now, Toho. Just stick to the animation.
Yeah, I haven't watched Godzilla Singular Point. I don't know if it's out yet.
I don't know if it's out yet. I know it's out. It's out there. It's out there. If you have a VPN, you could probably watch it off of Netflix Japan.
Oh shit.
But I don't know if it's subtitled or dubbed. Yeah, but I think it's in a week or two we'll get it. So I'm looking forward to that. Really am. But
so back to, it's just a sense of urgency. No, we need to fucking get down there and get this power source. Obviously it's a hidden mystery. And I'll get to that in a sec. But, no, I'm going to get to it now. Man, Mechagodzilla should have just been held off just that much more in the film. Just don't show it fight the Skullcrawler. Just with a little bit more mystery, hold it off until you see Ghidra's head and the brain's fucking connected and you hear the shit and you're like, why are all those tubes hooked up? And then it starts to show the eyes of, oh wait, hold up a second, hold up. That's when, when he comes bursting out of the mountain, that's when you reveal. It builds up that tension, that anxiety. What the fuck? Is it Mechagodzilla? No, it's Robo-Godzilla. What are you saying?
He said, it's Robo-Godzilla. No, it's Mechagodzilla. And I was like, yeah, I take all of it. I'll take it.
That line for me when the music stopped, no, it's Mechagodzilla. It's like...
I loved it. You know why I loved it too? Because I wasn't a fan of that actor, that kid in Deadpool 2. I was not a fan. So going into this movie, because that's the only thing I've ever seen him in, going into this movie, I'm like, I don't know. But he did. I like him. If anything, honestly, I think I was feeling him more than anybody else in the cast. That would be me in that situation. Like, the door's closed again. Why is it like, that would be me. I'm trying to find a way out. We keep getting deeper into this shit. But I will say this. I do disagree with you a little bit. Although, the way you set up Mechagodzilla sounds amazing and awesome. But the only reason why I disagree with you is you needed something for Millie Bobby Brown to do. And I get it, because that was one of the things. I'm like, she didn't even need to be in this movie. Kyle Chandler didn't need to be in this movie. He was in like 2 scenes, 3 scenes. You know? He has a grand total of like 1 minute and 20 seconds. You know, so it's...
And that's where I came up with a solution.
Okay.
Make Godzilla wholeheartedly evil. And then have Kyle Chandler and Millie Bobby Brown get rid of the podcaster and the kid, have those two and a team from Monarch investigating why he's turned against humanity.
I will say
that would be good.
I will say that's one of the things that was kind of like thrown off. There was really no Monarch in this movie.
No, it was so, like, and I brought that point up in the voice messages. There is literally almost no acknowledgement of King of the Monsters in this film.
Yeah.
The devastation, the lives lost. I didn't even get a definitive view. Like, how long into the future is it? Was it
5
2?
years.
Was it 5?
It's 5 years since King of the Monsters.
And that still hurts with the believability for me for the tech so fast.
Well, you know, okay, so here's... and of course, I was proven wrong. But as I was watching this movie for the first time, I'm all into the tech, right? I was all into it.
Yeah.
But as my good buddy Matt, a.k.a. G95, said in Messenger, they should have not called it the Heaves and just called it the Super X, because that's what it was. And I was like, yeah! Oh, call it the fucking Super X!
What?
So my theory, before everything came to light, was they're fucking aliens. So when Ren Sarazawa puts the fucking helmet on, it looked like an exillion. I mean, that visor was there, and I was like, they're paying homage. And that was before you even knew he was sitting inside a King Ghidorah's skull. I was screaming. I'm paying my brother. I'm like, here, they're aliens. They're fucking aliens. They did it. Because that was one of those really wild out there theories I threw out. Like, you were there when we did the trailer review. They're fucking aliens. I was freaking the fuck out. And so it justified the tech. Also, if you paid attention at the very end of that movie, well, not at the very end, but after everything was said and done, when Millie Bobby Brown runs back into her father, meets up with her father again, and she introduces, what's his name, Gary?
Yeah.
Right?
And they're talking about the Roswell, New Mexico.
I mean, it's there.
It's
all there. And I mean, just the little tiny details like that, yes, maybe it should be, expanded, but it's there. You can say, you know what? Maybe Roswell wasn't fucking crashing. Maybe they were reverse engineering these things, and that's how we got this. I mean, because the Argo itself should not even be a thing.
No, it should not have.
But it looked like a UFO. It flew like a UFO. It had maneuverability like a UFO, and we bought it. And I bought it. And it's, even though King of the Monsters is not my least favorite MonsterVerse movie, after seeing GVK, that shit. But this is just me personally. It dropped down notches. And I got into it yesterday in the podcast, but I'll do the quicker version.
Yeah.
I love the music in this movie. I know you might have had a problem because I got the Tron reference, because holy shit did I get the Tron reference. Because I was telling my brother, this is like Tron. I was like, what the fuck? But I love that. I don't know why. It felt like Tron. Certain musical scores, it sounded like it came out of Blade Runner. Like came out of a Blade Runner universe. But I like that sound anyway. So to hear it in a Godzilla movie, I'm like, what?
Oh, go ahead.
No, yeah. Oh shit. The sound. What else I was saying? Shit. Oh, the jokes. So here's my thing with the jokes. You know how I feel about the jokes in King of the Monsters. I can't stand them. All right?
Yeah.
I said this yesterday in the podcast. I'm going to say it again. Because I was like, holy shit. I watched all 3 movies Monday. 2014, Skull Island, King of the Monsters. I'm getting myself psyched. When they say Ghidorah's name and that dude says gonorrhea, right?
Oh,
you
bad.
just took decades worth of legitimate Godzilla history, the greatest Godzilla foe of all time, and you literally turned it into a fucking crotch itch joke.
Yep.
That is to me, that's absolute blasphemy. And if Michael Dougherty was such a fan, that shouldn't have made the cut. You don't do that. You don't do that. The jokes in this movie, they were absolutely corny, but they were safe corny.
The one joke, the fucking coward joke, how it comes back at the end was amazing.
See, and that's what I mean. They were safe jokes in this one. They were safe. The jokes, I mean, you can roll your eyes and find it. I love that, the coward thing. That everybody in the theater, both times I saw it, laughed. When I watched it, when I came home with my family, they laughed. It's a good joke. The payoff was there.
Yeah.
All the jokes were safe. All the jokes were safe. So people could roll their eyes and think it is corny and shit, but they were safe. And that was my biggest gripe, besides, Rodan's Raw. King of the Monsters. But that was my biggest gripe with King of the Monsters. These jokes really should not be in this movie. That's not camp. That's not camp.
A lot of the jokes in King of the Monsters, I can agree, needed to not. The only person in King of the Monsters that should have ever cracked wise was the fucking not yours monarch guy with the glasses. I forget his name.
Stanton. Dr. Stanton.
Stanton.
I didn't like
that. That is the one guy that should have been a comic relief, and 90% of his shit worked with me, but when it's like, my God, Zilla, I wanted to knock him the fuck out.
And I agree.
That was dumb.
I agree. Well, I hated that. That's like one of the worst. That's not the Ghidorah gonorrhea thing, but that was right up there.
Oh, that was fucking retarded. That was one of the worst jokes, hands down, ever. Because did you just say gonorrhea? No, I said Ghidorah, you fucking moron.
Yeah, so that...
Like, the world's ending, and you're gonna make an STD joke.
And that's where I was like, come on, man. And so those were, to me, the music, too, and I said this yesterday, King of the Monsters music is dope. You got the original themes. I think they just went a little overboard with some of it, Like, I like it, but it felt like Bear McCreary was like, oh, watch me amplify this by 1,000. And watching it the other day, I was like, I get it. I get where he's coming from, but I really didn't need all of that. I didn't need none of that. Yeah. I didn't need the chanting. A lot of the bass. I didn't need to be bumping Godzilla March in my car because of the bass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a perfect score as it is. So on the flip side, when I'm listening to the score for this, it just works. And that's the thing with King of the Monsters in this. When Godzilla's on screen in either movie, the score really signifies Godzilla's presence. Like, it's that he's here. He's here. But the extra in King of the Monsters, and I know a lot of people disagree with me on this one, I just think the extra was too extra. Whereas with this one, it was recognizable, but not the same thing. It's not the original score, but it was recognizable. So every time he was there, I was like, I fucking love this. And then I can't lie. Like I said, I like the Tron music. I really did like the Tron stuff.
When it comes to the King of the Monsters music, I love it. Probably my favorite of the Godzilla series.
I'm not mad.
The chanting for what the movie is, he's an ancient alpha predator going up against his rival. I like that chanting. It's like building it up. It's like, come on, Godzilla, Godzilla. Like he's the heavyweight boxing champion and everyone's chanting his fucking name. That's how I feel about King of the Monsters. And the monster themes in Godzilla vs. Kong, I liked. The rest of it, no. I'm not a synth. For the most part, there's some soundtracks that have that synth sound that I enjoy, but I do not like that techno synth futuristic soundtrack as much as I would just something else.
Right.
There are points where that music's playing, and it's just not fitting the scenario. Like, for instance, the Hollow Earth, when Kong's, walking around, the synth music's playing, I'm like, it should be more of, like, a natural sound instead of techno because there's not a lot of technology happening, it throws me off a little bit, and I start to hate it. Plus, not being a fan from the beginning. And there's one thing I will absolutely give shit. The fact that there was not even a short snippet of the original King Kong vs. Godzilla theme in this anywhere. Just reworked, remastered, reimagined, anything. Shame. Shame. That is 60 years, and you didn't even acknowledge that.
It was in Destroyer. it's at the end of Destroyer. That's all I gotta say. I feel you on that one, but I will say, okay, as far as homages go, there's a shit ton of homages. I don't know if you peeped this. This is one that I caught very first time, and I love to point it out every time it happens. When Kong opens the door to Mordor, excuse me, because let's not jerk each other off yet.
It fucking was.
It was fucking Mordor, right? Like, oh god.
Oh,
and mind you, like, I hate Lord of the Rings, but I love Godzilla vs. Kong. But when he opens the door and he goes inside, and his first roar inside, dude, listen to that roar. That's Kong 76. I was like, oh!
No shit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm not even making that up. You don't believe me? You can watch for yourself.
No.
It's on HBO Max.
Well, that's what I watched just a little bit ago.
You hear it. The Kong 76 that. And you know that roar is a stock roar. You hear that in cartoons a lot. That roar is in there. And I was like, oh my god. I mean, think about it. They had Kong 76 roar. They had King Kong Lives. With the heave at the end. You know what I'm saying? They did so much. There was so much homage. I mean, level 33. King Kong 1933. I'm just saying. A lot of that homage. I loved it. I did. I was a little upset because I thought that Skull Island's outpost should have been 62, if I'm not mistaken. I think King Kong vs. Godzilla came out in 1962.
It did.
So I wish that would have been, either 33 or 62. And you know what? If it was 33, that would have made the most sense. And then had level 62 as the sub level, and I would have been all right with that. But that was something that didn't even annoy me.
Yeah.
I had, I think, one complaint in the entire movie, and that was Godzilla. He had his roar, but he didn't have his bellow.
Yeah, what the fuck was up with that?
It was in the first scene. I forgot. Andrew said it was in another scene. I forgot. And I know that it's at the end of the credits. After the credits roll, there's nothing at the end credits. But at the end of the credits, you hear the bellow. And I was like, once again, he's the greatest.
And that's another fucking thing, is King of the Monsters, Michael Dougherty threw in the classic roars, which I didn't like in King of the Monsters, but I now have grown to like it. And now, nowhere here, it's like, was it just a King Ghidorah thing? Is it a behavioral pattern? There has to be logic in these movies. If you're trying to base them in some kind of a reality, why would his roar be different, and then back to what it was? What's going on?
And
consistency.
But that's where I think Michael Dougherty dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Because he wants to appease all of the Toho fans. And I ain't knocking that. I'm not knocking that. That's admirable. Because if you love that series, right, and you get to make this movie, hell yeah, you're going to listen to the people, not me, but the people who are like, yo, the first one, what the fuck was going on there? I love the first one. I'm not lying, that's still my favorite one. Like you, I watched that 4K. My God.
Dude, it's... Wow.
It's so, you can totally see the difference. And, like you said, with the right sound equipment, it's like you're sitting in a theater. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I've got a 7.1. It doesn't do Dolby Atmos or whatever, or DTSX. It's a step below that. My receiver is 400. My speakers were an extra 150. Mm-hmm. So I got, for what it costs, a pretty decent setup. I got a 4K TV with HD on.
Yep.
I like good audio. I like good visuals. In 2014 and 4K, Jesus Christ. The way the audio works, the music too. people don't talk about the music of that movie.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite soundtrack of all the series. The entire
it's
series.
Really good.
I love it, and I'm not talking about the Toho. I'm just talking about the MonsterVerse series.
Yeah,
that's my favorite music.
It's really good.
But I mean, outside of that, that movie's still my favorite, right?
Yeah.
And where was I going with this? So yeah, a lot of people were mad. Like, well, you know, it's Godzilla. There's no denying that's Godzilla, right?
Yeah.
If you want to. Apples and Oranges is 98 in 2014. You can't even lie. That's Godzilla. So now we make the spikes different. We make it more Godzilla-ish. We give him a couple of classic rubs. We're bringing in the music. We're giving him the fucking monsters. Except for Rodan, because that was just a giant pterodactyl that jumped out of a fucking volcano without the Rodan verse. Still big pissing me off. Anyway, we're not here to review that movie. But, so what I feel Wingard did was, all right, we did all that. You know, he heard the complaints about that. Legendary heard the complaints about the second movie. It bombed. Technically, it bombed.
Yeah.
And they fixed it. And I know you don't agree with it because you're not a fan, but, like, you're the 1 out of the 10 dentists.
Yeah, I really am. So, I have to bring this up, too.
Yeah, I still want to hear everything. I know there's more.
We've got days of complaining with this movie. It's the fucking day. I've been bitching about it since fucking Wednesday. Okay, another complaint. Ran Zola was a wasted fucking character. Absolutely did not need to be in that fucking movie. Fuck whoever wrote him in. Fuck him bad. You fucked it for the future of the series if there is one. You fucked it. You dropped the ball and it went into the hollow earth. Oh, fuck that. When I got the name drop, it got spoiled for me what the name drop was and who his character was. Like 4 weeks before the movie fucking came out. And I was like, oh shit, there's gonna be a dynamic. He's gonna fucking hate Godzilla. That's why Mechagodzilla gets made. He's gonna fucking pilot it or help create it. And he's just gonna hate Godzilla. By the end of the movie, he's gonna realize his creation's out of fucking control and he needs to team up with Godzilla. The same shit they did with Kyle Chandler.
Or
and
the Kiryu Saga. That sounds like a
Kiryu Saga.
That's what it is.
And they did not touch it with a 10-foot pole. Fucking why even have him in? Why even bother?
I'm going to tell you something. I understand your grievances. That shit didn't bother me, and I will say why. Because they never ever mentioned that this was the son of Dr. Serizawa. They never mention it. And I mean, but as fans, we know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We get it. But when you're looking at it like that, he's just some random dude. It's like, your name's JR. That, you know, I'm a junior. They could call me JR. We're the same person, but we're not family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They could have went in that route. I get it. Like, I do get it. And what you're saying is, actually, you know, that would have been dope. And it would have been in line with what Toho has done previously, especially in Mechagodzilla movies. I mean, Katsura, you know, and then that I can't even remember the names of, you know, the Kiryu Saga ones because I don't like those movies. But the idea was the same. We hate Godzilla, so let's pilot Mechagodzilla, whatever the case may be. And yeah, I get your grievances there, but honestly, in the grand scheme of things, while I agree it shouldn't have been Ren Serizawa, it could have been anybody.
John Stamos, like, who gives a shit at that point?
Yo, not for nothing. That might have revitalized that dude in such a way, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, remember when John Travolta popped up in Pulp Fiction and next thing you know, John Travolta was big again?
Oh, yeah.
John Stamos in there.
It's great. Full House.
That's so good, brother. That is so good.
God, Full House with all the monsters in there.
And then it would have legitimately come full circle because Elle Brody was the twins' younger sister from Full House.
Yep.
So now, you know, full circle. That's funny.
See, we could have had it happen.
We could have had it. That was fun. But, I mean, and that's why I say, I get it. But at the same time, I honestly don't think that the general audience even remembers that his name was Serizawa or would put that together.
And that's another complaint I have with the movie and why I said it was a pander film. It pandered to the general audience.
But that's what King of the Monsters did.
King of the Monsters pandered to the fans for me, whereas this movie's like, it's got the fan service shit, but it felt like, and no disrespect to this fandom, even though I hate their movies, it felt like a Marvel film. It felt like it pandered to the Marvel fans. And I was not the only one that's been saying this. The ex has, my buddy has, everyone I talk to about it in person's like, as Marvel, like, yeah, we needed them. The Monsterverse needed them, and it pandered to them. And I'm going to complain about this too. Why the fuck kind of coincidence is it? Is that Kong's lair is under Hong Kong, directly under it?
No. Like, come on. Listen. We've all tried to dig a hole to China one time or another in our youth. I know I did. I absolutely did. I lived on Staten Island. I'll never forget this. I lived on Staten Island, started digging a hole, so I'm going to get to China, and all of a sudden a bunch of ants came out. I had a net. Oh, shit! I had an ant. Oh, bro. I had millions of ants. It freaked me out. And then later on in life, when I seen Gamera 2, right? Yeah. And all the legions come up, and then they get on Gamera, like in the beginning. That's how I was like, I have flashbacks, like, numb. Oh, shit. I was like, that's what the ants did to me. Oh. And we're talking like 10, 12 years apart. So we've all tried to do it. So I think that's what Wingard was like, listen, yeah, we're at China now, so why the fuck not?
Here's what's funny about that too, is that's the plot. We need this certain material. Oh, it was under our feet the whole time. If only we had a giant robot with a uranium beam that could go straight through. Oh, wait, it only goes 40%. Get the drills. We fucking made tunnels.
They didn't know. They didn't know where it was. They knew it was somewhere there. They didn't know. That's why they needed the Titan to locate it. Because the Titan... Yeah. That was one of the things. So I will say this. For what it was worth, I enjoyed the explanations. Very simplistic. Very, very simple. In the most simplest form. That's why I hate shit Godzilla. Because I'm like, yo, this shit don't make no sense. Like, somebody explain this to me. I know I'm stupid, but I ain't that stupid. Someone explain this shit to me, right? And they fucking pull out graphs, and then you put it on top of graphs, and then you put it on top of other graphs, and you're sitting there like, none of this shit makes sense.
I don't have 6 PhDs in animal psychology. What the fuck am I looking at?
Exactly. And that's like, people fucking go goo goo gaga for that. And I'm like,
oh, God.
Y'all fucking bugging. But I digress. This is not talking about Shin Godzilla here. Although there was a couple references to Shin Godzilla too. I'll get to that in a minute. In the Hollow Earth. And I don't mean like the way they were, but I meant like in the Hollow Earth thing. I'll get to that in a second. Oh fuck! I lost my train of thought. See, once you get me started on Shin Godzilla,
the fucking movies. It's ridiculous.
Where was I? I was the Hollow Earth.
I was talking about the tunnels.
Oh, the plot. The human plots. Right. Very simple. And I liked it. So I love the idea that the Dos Equis guy, which is really not, but that's what I thought he was.
Yeah.
His whole idea was like, no, humanity is apex and screw the Titans. I like that.
No, it's a great dynamic. I just wish it was Ren Sarazawa saying it.
I agree with that too, but again, the general audience, they wouldn't get it. They wouldn't get it.
I know.
And I'm no offense, but that's because Michael Dougherty did not fucking push the envelope with Sarazawa. He gave it to the fans. He gave it to the fans of Toho.
You know what could have been fucking great is if Michael Dougherty didn't kill him off. And fucking, because it seems like no one was legitimately on Godzilla's side except 3 people. Kyle Chandler's character completely flipped. Quick. He's like, fuck Godzilla, even though I had a connection with him by the end of King of the Monsters. By this one, he's like, I don't give a shit.
No, he was like, see, I told you. See,
yeah,
I told you.
It's like, dude, no. It contradicts.
And you're absolutely right. If Dougherty would have kept Sarazawa alive, and they would have had Sarazawa in this movie, like, I can't explain this. That would have been such a dynamic.
Such a dynamic. Have Ren Sarazawa pick up the mantle. Or Kyle Chandler fucking pick it up like he should have. I thought that was the whole point. Godzilla's hurting people. We don't know why. Oh shit! He's actually giving a shit about Godzilla. He's gonna be the new Sarah. No. Okay. He's a politician.
Well, all right. Let me ask you a question, though. Seriously.
All right.
Were you that upset at the lack of story for the humans in this? Because I wasn't. Because again, when we got with the monsters, we got everything we've been clamoring for. And I know King of the Monsters delivered too, right? It did. It delivered. But this movie delivers. Godzilla vs Kong. It delivers that.
And I think that's what the problem is for me. Is I went in watching this movie as... I didn't do it as the critic. I didn't. Because I love reviewing movies. Snyder Cut's fucking amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I love reviewing movies. I normally keep them to myself or I talk to friends. I need to start a fucking channel with these reviews. I swear to God.
Still waiting. Still waiting.
Right? But and it's hard because, yes, the consensus is almost all the Godzilla movies, you don't care about the human characters. And I defended that with King of the Monsters. I was like, you don't give a shit about the story. You don't give a shit about the characters. You care about the fights in King of the Monsters. But I've grown to like the story of 2014. I've grown to like the story of Kong Skull Island, even though the characters and then I'll include King of the Monsters. I enjoy the story in that. Even though the stories aren't that great. Or, I mean, the characters aren't that great. The stories are. This is a realistic take on these monsters. This is what they would do. Okay, this is a Vietnam setting. We're on this island. Story, we need to get the fuck off. I like that story. Your relationship with Kong builds, how long's he known humanity? There's a story there. King of the Monsters story ultimately is about redemption and forgiveness. It's pretty much, and, killing that three-headed space dragon, but I digress. With this one, I get it, because it needed to happen. We've set up the Hollow Earth, we need to pay it off. We need to have these monsters fight. But it went about it the wrong way.
See, and I disagree.
Hear me out.
Yeah, yes.
Because this is what I thought it was going to be. And I'm not always right. The fucking consensus is I am wholeheartedly fucking wrong. How badass would it have been if we start the movie out, Godzilla, it opens. Godzilla's just decimating like New York City or something. Just decimating it. No one fucking knows why. Have not Dr. Serizawa, Kyle Chandler and his daughter, and that team of Monarch from King of the Monsters, all of them back.
Yeah, we need a G-team again.
Stupid jokes. And them trying to figure out, okay, what's going on? Call them fucking G-Force. Please.
It was G-Team in King of the Monsters. I was okay with that.
Yeah, G-Team. Keep him G-Team. But something. Have O'Shea come back just for a cameo. Something. Just like them trying to figure out, why is he doing this? And then at the end of him destroying a city, you pan over to him and he just charges up his atomic breath at an Apex facility. And he hammers it hard with his atomic breath. Goes in and destroys the shit out of it. Make sure there's nothing left. And then you pan down to like a giant hole underground, and that's when you see the eye. And then humanity's like, fuck, we have nothing. Nothing. Godzilla's destroying shit. We don't know why he's doing it. He has turned on us. Because humanity crossed the line, but we'll get to that later. What do we do? All the other Titans backed down. They all bowed. And then, have someone, like maybe a scientist come in from Skull Island, the lady, and she's like, or maybe they call Skull Island something because they're trying to figure out what to do. And that's when you bring in the fact that Kong doesn't bow to anyone. Bring in the fact that in King of the Monsters, he didn't leave the fucking island. He didn't give a shit. Bring that factor in. Have the deaf girl communicate. Because Kong's lived with humans for so long. And don't have Skull Island be swallowed by a storm. That is dumb. Have it be there. And the Iwi tribe, and then Kong makes that connection. There's more humans out there, and he's related with humans for so long. Maybe it's time for him to take the throne. Immediate confrontation. We don't need to get him off the island into the hollow earth. We don't need a special material or have it. I don't give a shit. That is a strong setup for a fight because it feels natural. They're natural ancient enemies. So why can't they just immediately be attracted to one of them being king of the monsters? And already was established that Godzilla was herding monsters to Skull Island. Never brought up. That is another one they could have went with, like Kong. Tell him to get the fuck off the island. The monsters are confused, and so Godzilla starts killing them because they have nowhere to go. He's like, you didn't go where I fucking told you, so I'm going to kill you. And it sets up a dynamic, and I feel like it harkens back to King of the Monsters because that ancient rivalry between Godzilla and King Ghidorah, you know, that alpha supremacy. But this time it's with Kong and Godzilla. That's what I expected. Whether or not it would have worked out is a whole other story, but I do enjoy that thought. And then Kong, you know, instead of finding an ancient axe, he rips that dorsal plate off Godzilla's back. He crafts it. I would have enjoyed that.
No.
Because it shows that the King of the Monsters might actually struggle. And in my version, after they defeat Mechagodzilla, Kong kills Godzilla.
And that's why you hate it, because that's not what happened. You're a monkey fan. That's my bad.
No. I rooted for Godzilla the entire time. I thought, in my head, I'm like, they're going to do Kong. Kong is huge in the States. Kong is the overall... Fucking people. Sorry, my buddies are coming in just flashing cash like they're retarded. But Kong is big in the States, bigger than Godzilla, and I really thought they would have went that route because Kong's a fan favorite, and Godzilla doesn't seem to be as much. And I'm like, they'll kill the lizard because they lost the license. That's the next logical thing to do, and then they can continue the Kong series without Godzilla. You can have Kong movies after that. The MonsterVerse continues. Maybe an Easter egg at the end. There's a baby Godzilla out there. Looks exactly like Minya.
No.
But that, for me, would have been, like, really cool. Because, like, have them team up to fight Mechagodzilla for the greater good. And right after they're done, both Kong and Godzilla are tuckered out. Godzilla's used, like, a shit ton of his radiation. He doesn't have much left. Kong's all fucked up. Have Kong pick up that goddamn axe. I know I'd rub it up against the grain with it, but...
Nope. I'm sorry, brother. That's terrible. Well, I gotta be honest with you. It's absolutely terrible. And not because I'm a diehard Godzilla fan, because I absolutely love this version of Kong. I love the legendary version of Kong. I love Kong and Skull Island. Didn't like the movie, but Kong was the best part of the whole movie. And I love Kong in Godzilla vs. Kong. But no, you could never kill Godzilla. And the reason why you couldn't kill Godzilla is because of the lineage. Godzilla is more popular than Kong. I don't care if you're talking about in the States or not. And you know what's the proven factor about that?
The films.
The films.
Yeah. The 36 films there are now.
I mean, it's popular. It's popular.
Oh, yeah,
they don't come out over here like they do in Japan. But the fact of the matter is, they're there. So you're not going to do that.
That's why in my version, though, you make Godzilla evil.
Yeah, but see, and I the reason why I don't like that is because in 2014, that's what I thought I was going to get. I was like, yep, here we go. And everything pointed to evil Godzilla, right?
Yeah.
Until you saw that one trailer where you saw the Muto go into the water, and you're like, wait, what the fuck? And they turned Godzilla into the Showa version, in a modern setting. And it blew my mind. And that's why I love that movie. Because I was like, I grew up with the Showa shit, but the Heisei movies is where it's at, right? Like that Force of Nature shit. So when I see 2014, I'm thinking that, Force of Nature version, but we get Showa. Yeah. And I'm like, and it made me realize how much I loved that time. Yeah. That's why it's my favorite fucking, it's my favorite fucking MonsterVerse movie. Turning Godzilla evil in this would have been a humongous detriment. Although it was kind of teased at the end of King of the Monsters, because she was like, but for how long? The good thing he's on our side, but how long? No.
that's where that idea from me came from. Is like, no, for how long humanity crossed the line making Mechagodzilla, even if it was that small handful. In Godzilla's eyes, he views them as humans being the enemy because they're fighting for the alpha supremacy.
But that's why this movie works so well. And I'm sorry to shoot down your theory.
Oh, it's fine.
The reason why the movie works so well is because Godzilla has been around for generations. You know, he's older than Kong. You know, he's older than that version of Kong. This Godzilla is older than that Kong, right?
Yeah.
And they've both been around for generations. I mean, the species has. But this Godzilla's been around for a very long time, right?
Yeah.
And in that amount of time that Godzilla's been around, he has never had to have a beef with humanity. Humanity dropped an atom bomb on him in 1954, and he still didn't do anything, right?
True.
So, to make him evil and just start destroying shit for the sake of destroying shit because Apex is making a Mechagodzilla, that makes zero sense. All of a sudden, there's a twist that doesn't fit the rest of the shit. So when you see him destroying the Apex facility, and think about what they said, only 8 dead. I mean, granted, 8 is enough. Say calm, but he wasn't there to kill humanity. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Gamera 3. Gamera was like, "Fuck everything. You're in my way," right?
Yeah.
That's not what Godzilla was doing here. You know, he sensed that presence, and that's one of those things that's baseline throughout the entire series, from 2014 through King of the Monsters, and it continued to Godzilla vs Kong. He knows. Yeah. That's what makes him benevolent. The same way with Kong on Skull Island, and I gotta disagree with you. I absolutely loved the fact that the fucking storm swallowed Skull Island. No, listen, because here's the thing. Let's say there's a tsunami, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it changed the fucking coastline. Now, all of a sudden, your map got to change because the water never receded all the way back. So now you're missing a chunk of land. Think about it. They say it all the time. Like, if there was something crazy to happen, like in California or something, bro, next thing you know, Nevada is a coastal city. You know what I'm saying? So I love the idea that this storm's been around for how long? Right?
Fox, they were talking about even in Skull Island, like the 30s.
Right, so
easy.
I could see it just
swallowing
the island. I mean, granted, it kind of felt terrible that all the Iwis died except for little Gia. But the idea that Kong saved her, you know? And this is something I mentioned yesterday, too. What I loved was there was no dynamic between Kong and an adult female.
It was her.
It was her. And it's a different type of love there. It's a, she's the last of her kind. And even think about this. When you're saying Kong doesn't know anything outside of humanity except for the Iwis, that's a lie. Because since Vietnam,
true. Yeah.
Monarch has had a base established there. They've been monitoring Kong, and he's been just, and even the comic book shows that.
Yeah.
You know?
I haven't read the comics, so.
Okay. No, listen, the Skull Island comic, the sequel to Skull Island, actually.
Good?
The sequel. Very good. Very, very good. But so all that shit comes into play, right? All of that comes into play. And I sit there and I'm like, yeah. So, and that's another thing. So what you're saying, though, is as far as the dominant and the supremacy, they're both alphas. And that's what I loved about this movie, because exactly what you said, they did. But they were trying to protect Kong because at the end of the day, they knew Kong wasn't fucking with Godzilla.
Yeah.
They knew that. They protected Kong. It's called the Rocky 3 syndrome.
I haven't seen Rocky 3, man.
So in Rocky 3, right? Rocky's knocking everybody out now. He's the champ. Tires on. He's knocking everybody out. Everybody knocking everybody out. Here comes Mr. T, Clubber Lang. Hey, boy. And he fucking decimates Rocky in the first fight. Takes the championship.
Yeah.
Rocky's like, what happened? And Mick, his trainer, was like, hey, Rock, so I kind of, I was feeding you bums. He protected him.
Yeah.
And then when the real dude came, was like, I'm coming for that shit, he got it. That's what they were doing. It was the Rocky 3 syndrome. So I love that idea. Like, you know, and granted, pretty much the story's baseline, but those little nuggets, that makes sense. That makes sense. Of course you want to hide Kong from Godzilla. If Godzilla defeated all those other fucking monsters, which, that's a gripe. That's a gripe.
Oh, that's a huge one for me. I don't even think, was it established, other than that beginning credit sequence, that he killed them?
It didn't say if he killed them or not, but in the Godzilla Dominion comic that's coming out in a couple of days, that I just pre-ordered and said it's going to get here by the end of April, I'm like, what? They made 10 of these things? Fuck. I know for a fact in that one, he fights one of those creatures from King of the Monsters. One of the ones that, you know, is a legendary creature.
Yeah.
But when I saw Rodan, I was like, tears falling out my eyeballs.
And that's where I'm questioning. I'm like, did he kill him, or is it just because they went back into fucking hiding? Because the newspaper clips that the King of the Monsters said Rodan's nesting up.
Yeah, that's exactly that's why I was confused with that shit.
That same here, it kind of pissed me off, because I'm like, no, why, if that's the case, why didn't Godzilla just nuke him at the end of King of the Monsters? Just decimate them all right there. Fucking problem solved. Why would it wouldn't make sense?
Because you know what it was, and with the exception of the Muto, at the end of King of the Monsters, they're not a threat to him.
Yeah.
See, the Muto species, they established in 2014 that's a threat to Godzilla, even in the comic book, because they're parasites and they feed off of his radiation.
Yeah.
Kong, for whatever reason, they never get it. All they say, they're ancient rivals. Okay, but why? Because monkeys hate lizards? What? You know?
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, in King of the Monsters, when they're underwater in Godzilla's lair and you see the ancient texts and stuff like that, they should have had something like that in this movie, but for Kong, and the old fights with the Godzilla species. Why they hate each other, shit like that.
Right.
I would have loved it. And that's where I would have really dug deep into lore. That's why this movie should have been longer. I know, everyone loves the pacing of this movie. Everyone's like, it shows up and it's done.
But it's a classic Toho time. It's a classic Toho runtime. Like, it literally is. If anything, it goes over. I was watching Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 74 the other day.
Yeah.
That movie's like an hour and 20 minutes. It's short. And I was like, holy crap. Like, the last time I watched it, before I watched it the other day, I had like a bad experience. I don't know what it was. I was just like, ugh. But I watched it the other day and I was like, oh, wait a minute. What was wrong with me back then? Because I loved it. I loved it, right?
Yeah.
And before the movie started, I tell my brother, how much you want to bet this is a remake of that movie? I was like, they're going to replace Anguirus with Rodan, because, you know, Rodan's not dead yet. Kong's replacing King Caesar. I mean, like, everything you saw in the trailer kind of, you know, the mountain blows up. It's a black mountain. It blows up, just like it. I was like, watch. And none of that shit was there.
No, I was actually glad. I was kind of glad.
Yeah, I was too. I can't be mad.
A huge thing I have to give this movie, even though it went places, it did not go the stupidest, most ridiculous place. They did not disguise Mechagodzilla up as Godzilla.
Man, that was probably the most upsetting thing for me in this movie.
Really?
Dude, remember in the trailer, when the trailer review thing, my whole idea was, King Ghidorah's regenerative abilities, they're going to use that in the DNA, and that's what, that's not Godzilla. That's Mechagodzilla. That's what I wanted.
King Ghidorah's brain. Oh, another thing. Sorry, I'm going all over the place.
No, you're supposed to. That's what we do.
It was established in King of the Monsters. Visually, you could see the three heads communicating with each other. Through facial expressions, growls, and now it's telepathy. No. It's fine, but it was a gripe for me. I was like, no, I saw it. Why would he bite the left head? Why would he yell at the left head? Why would the right head just be pissed off all the fucking time and growl back? It wouldn't make sense, because if they could just communicate telepathically, they would not have expressions. They could just talk to each other. That kind of bothered me. Just a little bit.
I don't know. I think you can still get away with both. I think you can add telepathy into it.
I'm sure, and it's just an offhanded comment, and in the grand scheme of it, it doesn't matter, because they just upload the Ghidra DNA to fucking Mechagodzilla. By the way, I have to compliment it because I hated the idea of Mechagodzilla. Like, it's going to be stupid. They're not going to use it right. No. They used it right. They did. It was King Ghidra possessing Mechagodzilla.
Hear me out. It was... It was all three versions of Toho's Mechagodzilla. And we're not talking about the animated one, because that was a damn shit. It was stupid. It was all three versions, right? Check it out. It was controlled, like in 93. It was piloted, right?
Yeah.
It was Kiru in the sense that it was taking control of.
And it was by DNA.
By DNA. And because it was taken control of, like Kiru, it's the OG Mecha G because it was taken control of by an alien. I'm just saying. All three Mechagodzillas rolled up into Legendary. And
Legendary's Mechagodzilla. I dug it, and that was really good. You guys know I was saying, man, that's stupid. I don't want Mechagodzilla, I want Destroyer. No, fuck that. Mechagodzilla was fine.
You know, that was my favorite part of the movie, right?
Oh, fuck, was it?
The fact that Destroyer wasn't in it. It
opens the door, though. I came up with some wild fucking thing.
No, you want to keep this as far away from the Toho the timeline, the Toho series. You know, they already added so much into it. And again, this is where I compliment this movie. Mechagodzilla alone, whether you like the look or not, and I don't hate it, but it ain't my favorite. You know what I mean?
It's not even close to my favorite.
Right, but I didn't hate it in this movie.
No.
It had... So to me, Mechagodzilla has to have the offensive weaponry, right? Oh, it had that shit, and it had it in spades. I don't think it was the most powerful offensive weaponry that we've seen in a Mechagodzilla before. I think that might go to 74, 75, or even 93. That thing killed Godzilla. I'm just saying. But it had concussion missiles from the shoulders, like 93 and Kiru had missiles from the shoulders. It didn't have finger missiles, but it had a plasma punch and a plasma kick. And then it had a drill claw tail. What the fuck? Man, listen when
They did Mechagodzilla good, and props. Because I've been shitting on the movie. It's got it, like I said, but I compliment it where it's due in Mechagodzilla. They could have done so much fucking worse. So much worse. Now, design-wise...
It should have looked like Ready Player One. That was a good design.
Yeah, it was a good design. I didn't, like, absolutely hate it. It just looked awkward. Like, its shoulders are, like, way up here. I'm like, dude.
You know what it reminded me of? You said this early in the podcast already. It reminded me of Devastator in Transformers 2.
Yeah, it did.
It was terrible. I was like, oh my god, it's a Constructicon.
You know what's fucking hilarious? The ex said the same thing. She's like, it looks like Transformers. Like, it fucking kind of does. But it makes sense. Because it's the first giant mech they've ever made. It's not gonna look as shitty as the Pacific Rim mechs, the Jaegers. I mean shitty as in cobbled together.
Oh, come on. What are you talking about,
bro? No,
bro?
because, like, real quick, if you look at Pacific Rim, the guy was saying they threw one together in 16 months, and it's like, you could tell it had pieces of different shit on it, quote, the shitty scrapped together. Mechagodzilla reminded me of that. Like, it would look real. Like, it could exist. How its fingers fold backwards and it looks like they're on a track.
Yeah. Yep.
Made sense. It made logical sense. And I really thought they could have done way fucking worse. I'm glad it actually worked out in that end fight. Godzilla got his ass stomped, and then Monkey shows up, goes on his back. It's reference to 2014 Mechagodzilla's up in Godzilla's mouth.
Trying to hit him with a kiss.
Like, fuck, dude.
That was dope. And I said this. Mechagodzilla always kicks Godzilla's ass.
Oh, yeah.
In every single movie, Mechagodzilla decimates Godzilla. Like, legit. If there was one thing I didn't like, is Godzilla should have had a pulse. He should have pulsed. Because that would have knocked Mechagodzilla back. And Godzilla, I think, got one hit in. And that was when he ran at him right at the start. And after that, it was all Mechagodzilla all day, bro. And I was sitting there like... And I didn't mind. And like I said, I spoke to Matt earlier and shit, G95, and he was like, he much rather would have had Godzilla deliver the killing blow. I understand why they went that route, because Godzilla already killed King Kong twice, right?
Yeah.
He killed him twice. Yeah, let Kong get that comeuppance. So not only did Godzilla kill King Ghidorah, but now Kong killed King Ghidorah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Wow, that's a tongue twister. I couldn't get that out.
Right.
But so I dug that. I dug that. And oh, by the way, you know when Ghidorah takes over Mechagodzilla, you hear
every roar.
The roar. And then I'm like, oh, they straight up went King of the Monsters. Okay.
I was happy with that, dude.
See, little things like that, and it just added. That's why I loved it so much, because it was the nods and homages for people like us.
Yeah.
They were so, like, you have to know it to get it. Whereas what Michael Dougherty did was like, hey, remember this? Hey, remember this? Hey, remember this? And it was like, yeah, I do, but where's Rodan's Raw, motherfucker? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I said, I don't care. It pissed me off. I was like, I swear to God, I was like, Rodan's going to be in this movie. He's going to have his classic Raw. I cannot wait. And then it said defeated. And I was like, what?
Yeah. I want to see that expanded upon, and I'm curious if Godzilla just ended up killing them all, which would be really dumb. It would take some weight off this movie.
But that would make Godzilla the villain, too.
Yeah.
And that would, so I'm because again, like, that was the thing that I was mad at, because I was like, yo, at the end of King of the Monsters, Rodan went to hibernate again. He ain't coming back. And it's only been 5 years, so Godzilla went and decimated the entire, what, it was 17 and counting is the phrase. So he went around in the last 5 years and just killed all the Titans.
And then they don't say a fucking word about it in the movie. That would be weird. Like that he went around killing all the monsters. Like,
well, see, all right. So here's where this is where the realism kicks in, right?
Yeah.
Why would you even bring it up? For the audience?
Yeah.
Because if we already knew and we're in that universe, we're not bringing it up. We already know. We know. You know what I'm saying? So it's not to jerk the audience off. You don't need to tell them. That's what they said. It was over and done with. Now you don't need, like, Millie Bobby Brown's father to say, hey, remember when Godzilla beat up Rodan on that mountainside? You don't need it.
No, I mean just, like if he really went around and killed all the monsters, just bring it up, like, not only Godzilla's attacking humanity after he's defeated all the other Titans. Like, something in the newscast, something, if that was the case. And that's what I'm curious about. Are they dead? Are they just hibernating? Are they just defeated because there's no fucking way they're going to challenge him, especially at the end? Maybe
it was subtle. Maybe it was implied when they were like, we can't let Kong off the island.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because maybe they knew, we let Kong off, he's dead. So maybe Godzilla did kill him.
Yeah.
So, look, at the end of the day, I don't think, again, like, I go back to Gamera, right? I go back to the Heisei Gamera trilogy. Gamera was the guardian of, like, he protected Earth.
Yeah.
And then when Gamera 3 came out, if you're in his way, you're in his way. He can't, look, at the end of the day, it's not even about y'all no more. It's about Earth.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with Godzilla. It wasn't about that. So maybe Godzilla might have thought these creatures could possibly pose a threat.
Yeah.
And because, again, we knew that from 2014, Godzilla had a rivalry with a Muto because the Mutos were parasites trying to kill him. No, he's gonna get the fuck out of here. He's got to eradicate that. The Kong thing, that's the only thing that the Legendary Verse didn't expand on.
Yeah.
Why would the species of Kongs and Godzillas fight each other? Unless it was for a dominance. Yeah, it doesn't make sense because you have in King of the Monsters them showing, like, on the text and the walls, the ancients praising Godzilla. In the comic books, in the legendary comic books, same thing. In the Kong Skull Island sequel comic, same thing. But hell, even in Skull Island.
Yeah.
One day, Kong just woke up and the species just woke up and was like, no, these things are bad and the humans are good. We're going to protect them. So that's probably a gripe I would have with just not even this movie, but just the MonsterVerse in general. There's no explanation why they're, and that's why I didn't like King of the Monsters ending, because that was just... When you watch Skull Island and you see the end of that movie and they show Godzilla and Ghidorah on a cave painting, that blows my mind, because you know what we're setting up, right?
Yeah.
When you do the same thing with Godzilla and Kong at the end of the King of the Monsters, I swear to God, I just don't feel the same way. I'm like, okay, but why? See, Ghidorah was an invasive species. Wasn't from the Earth.
Yeah.
And that's why that was happening. And I love that idea. That's one of those things that that movie, yes. When they're like, oh, yeah, of course he's alien. That's why he's able to create, typhoons and hurricanes and all this shit out of thin air. I love the idea of that. I love it.
You know what it is? It's characterization, not for characters, but for the monsters.
Right.
And I will say, other than Kong's very expressive, and I need to bring this up because this is legit. Adam Wingard today talked about how Godzilla was not allowed to emote in this film. That's why,
He smiled.
No, that's like compared to King of the Monsters, how Godzilla had different facial expressions. Apparently, Toho came up to him and said he's not allowed to emote.
But he emotes a lot in this movie.
I know. It was a weird fucking thing. Because, compared to, take, for instance, the part in King of the Monsters where Ghidorah, the middle head, bites the Transformer and starts sucking up electricity, and Godzilla looks over, and you see on his face, oh, shit. They weren't allowed to do that in this movie. To that extent, again.
See, that's crazy, because I've seen this movie now 5 times, and I'm going to watch it after this podcast again with the wife. He emotes. When Godzilla, after the first battle with Kong, and he comes up out of the water, when he says, shut everything off, make us look dead. I mean, Kong's already passed out. He's passed out.
Yeah.
So when Godzilla comes out the water and he looks over, there's emotion in that. He's looking at him like, go ahead.
And that's where he was talking about how they had to work around that. Like his face, because it's a weird. Read the article.
Well, then Adam Wingard needs to win some kind of an award because he did it. Yeah, he did it. And I never watched an Adam Wingard movie, and I know the dude gets slack.
They're rough, dude.
Well, maybe that's why you don't like this movie, because you're probably like, well, the director sucks. So
he won me over when he listed his favorite Godzilla movies, and Destroy All Monsters was in his top 3.
Okay, wait. Speaking of that, you know why I love this movie so fucking much? And it's not my number 1 in the Monsterverse. It's not.
Yeah.
It's my number 2, though, definitely. And it's right there. Because this movie was motherfucking Final Wars on crack. Well, no, Final Wars is Final Wars on crack. But this movie is fucking Final Wars. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You've got a mixed mass of genres. I mean, they go sci-fi, fantasy, fucking giant monsters. It's never a drama, though. It's never really. Well, kind of, because honestly, the relationship between Kong and Gia, that's really, dude, nobody I've spoken to, even you, could say that was, it felt natural. It was nice. It was heartfelt, I loved it. And that little girl, whoever she was killing it. When she was crying and she was like, Godzilla's not the enemy, and she's wiping her eyes, and I'm like, don't cry, little girl. I was like, come on.
And what's fucking amazing about that is, it was in interviews, it's like a lot of people talk about, well, Kong needs a woman. They did it, and it was fucking believable. Yeah. I loved it. The fact, and I love this, and I don't know if you feel the same way. When Kong signs back, I was like, he talks, yes!
Oh, dude, I loved it.
So good there.
And that was one of those things, too, with all of that, when Gia's adoptive mother, Rebecca Hall, I don't remember her name in the movie.
Yeah.
But Rebecca Hall, she was like, now everybody, not that everybody knows, when they were in Antarctica.
Yeah.
And this dude is like, yo, just tell her his family could be down there. So she says that, and the girl asks, family for real? And she was like, I don't know. She didn't lie to the girl. Oh, God, I love that, because it could be so simple to just lie to the poor girl. Yeah. She didn't lie to her. She straight up said, I don't know. Oh, man, see that? To me, that is just enough of that human element that we need. But that was, legit human element.
Yeah.
She could have, been an asshole and went along just to move the story along, but she said, I don't know. Yes, the story still moved along. And then Tron and Lord of the Rings and dude, that had to be created by an alien civilization. What the fuck? The Hollow Earth. I'm just saying. I'm sitting there like, what?
That's where we're going next.
Let's talk about Hollow Earth. Yes, let's do that because I'm pretty sure both of us we gonna butt heads here.
So we are. Fucking
come on, let's go to Pandora together, bro. Let's go. Let's go to Pandora. Avatar. Let's go.
Okay. The Hollow Earth, in my head, how I thought it was going to play out. And like I said, my mind versus reality, I'm not always right, obviously. It's just, what I would like to have seen is, like, under Skull Island, not quite as big of a Hollow Earth, but there's something that has ancient species and stuff like that. Not the entirety of the inside of the Earth's crust. Like they implied and kind of stated that under the Earth's crust, the Hollow Earth, it's just a whole other world, just surrounding the core. I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I can't. What are the tunnels then? Why was there a black hole, by the way?
Oh yeah, no, listen, man. Because when they got sucked through the vortex in King of the Monsters, it wasn't a black hole, it was an underwater vortex.
It makes sense.
But at the same time, it was not in the Hollow Earth.
Yeah.
You know? But that's the thing too, and that was a genius thing. One thing I hated was the Hollow Earth entrance was in Antarctica. I'm like, wait a minute. Wasn't Monster Zero up there too? What the fuck? Like, what? And then when they go in, it's like Monarch was building a facility in there. I'm like, what? Like, what?
Another thing we need to talk about too real quick. Does Monarch just have everyone building these facilities? Because the Skull Island containment facility is fucking huge. The Antarctica and Hollow Earth entrance is fucking huge. Apex's tunnels to Hong Kong from...
That wasn't Monarch. That wasn't Monarch.
I mean, like, Apex on that. Like, who's building this shit?
It's a shit. King of the Monsters. The fucking Godzilla's lair. What was that area? What was it?
Oh, I still... Yeah,
was it 54?
Outpost 54.
It was Outpost 54, right? Yeah. So, you know...
I get that movie shit, too. I'm like, who the fuck built that? Who built that fucking... How many years was it? The same amount? Like 5 or something?
5 years. It took 5 years because they say in this movie, when Godzilla first appeared 10 years ago, specifically says that.
Yeah, so, like, I even call bullshit King of the Monsters. I'm like, there's no fucking way. Like, the Rodan containment facility, fine. It's not super huge. The Godzilla one?
Yeah, it was just, like, on top of the volcano. Yeah. It wasn't even in the volcano.
That's what I liked about it. Like, it's just like, we're just gonna put it on top. Fuck it. And then, like, Godzilla says, like, no, I'm calling bullshit on that one. That one's fucking stupid. The Kong one, I'm like, yeah, but the biggest fucking ruiner of it was the Hollow Earth entrance one, because it's like, how long have they known about the Hollow Earth? So you built this facility in 5 years, the Hollow Earth containment, but who's paying?
No, time out. Nope. They knew about the Hollow Earth theory when Randa went to Skull Island and dropped the seismic charges to prove his theory. So they've known about it since the 70s, so they had this entire time to map the Earth.
There we go.
They had
what
the
about
entire
the Kong containment facility?
Right. But my beef was, why did it have to be in Antarctica if Skull Island was the fucking pinnacle of Hollow Earth?
Yeah, and that's why I say Skull Island should have been swallowed by the storm, because they could have done shit.
But I like the idea of them stopping, nature stopping. It's all evolution. I mean, dinosaurs died out. Like, it's nature. Nature is stopping from getting to certain places and stopping humanity in this instance. But no, I like that. I was like, look at this shit. Like, they didn't even build a facility. They just built some, like, things that Kong can swing off of. What?
Yeah, like they had that in mind. Like, someday a giant poo-flinging ape is gonna come swinging through here. We need to make sure these bars don't immediately collapse when he pulls on them.
That was crazy. But the black hole thing, that was nuts too. The black hole...
That bothered me, dude. It did.
It was weird, and it became, like you said before, Marvel. It became Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 when they're going through slip space and their eyes are jumping out of their heads.
Yeah.
I love that movie, by the way. But I was like, that's the vibe I got. I was like, oh, this is like Guardians 2. Okay.
Which isn't bad when James Gunn makes the film. Which, by the way, James Gunn on Twitter says he fucking loves this movie.
Bro. You ruined me just now because... Did you see the trailer for Suicide Squad?
Oh, it looked good.
Did you see Starro? He's a fucking kaiju. Yes! I was like, oh my god, they got Starro in this shit. What the fuck? Yeah, now I need James Gunn to make a MonsterVerse movie.
Oh my god! Imagine James Gunn doing a Godzilla movie or a Kong movie. Oh.
And now I need it in my life. I need James Gunn to make a Rodan movie. And give him his role. No, let me stop.
Oh my fuck! Wait, hold on. That would make perfect sense because Rodan's character in King of the Monsters fits perfect with James Gunn. Darren fucking monster.
Yep.
Okay, so Hollow I don't like it. I didn't. I have a theory that's really dumb. You know, kind of like this movie script. What if the ancient rivalry was because, you know, there's that gravitational pull in between the two landmasses.
Right.
What if the ancient rivalry was the Godzilla species and Kong species throwing shit at each other through it? That's why there's so many rocks.
Oh my god. You know?
Godzilla versus Kong in ancient rivalry.
Oh my god.
Fucking great. No, and then we gotta get into the Kong Temple. Of course, who built it. And that's pretty much it there. So the material in the Kong's lair that absorbs the radiation is essentially the same material that Godzilla's dorsal plates are made out of, right?
It would seem so. That was the one thing, though, that kind of pissed me off with the movie. I'm like, Serizawa was underwater, walked into this temple, and was dying of the radiation right away.
Yeah.
And he was protected. These people were like, chilling with no freaking... The little girl didn't even have a fucking suit. She was wearing a regular clothes.
Literally could have pulled up lawn chairs and started drinking a fucking beer watching Kong do this shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, beyond that, Godzilla sensed it and knew right when Kong charged that axe, right? He knew, oh, what the fuck? Who was down there? Why didn't Godzilla just go there to charge up his dorsal plates after the oxygen destroyer hit him at King of the Monsters?
See, but that's the beauty of it, because they say in King of the Monsters, this is his home. That's where Godzilla goes. That's where he was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So why would Godzilla go? Because if Godzilla needed to go to the center of the earth, why would he need to come back out? But I will say this, and this is where the Shin Godzilla thing I mentioned earlier comes into play. If you look at every fucking creature with the exception of those little crab things, which, by the way, was a throwback to original King Kong. Even that lizard that ate the crab, throwback to King Kong. With the exception of that and the Warbats.
They all had dorsal plates.
They all had dorsal plates. And the 2014 dorsal plates.
And I hated it.
Oh, I loved it. Because I was like, oh, that's it.
It makes sense from an evolutionary standpoint.
Right.
But I hated it because it opens up Pandora's box of, wait, so it's not just a Godzilla species that are able to harness radiation through the dorsal plates. Everything, essentially almost everything else did?
No, so what I took from that was this was the evolution of the Godzillas, which means they beat Kong.
They started out as turkey vultures?
No, maybe they evolved to turkey vultures the way dinosaurs evolved into birds.
Ew! Those were ugly,
They were ugly. No, hey, listen, so was Shin Godzilla. But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
When you look at it like that, dinosaurs evolved into birds. Why not? I mean, the spines on the back. That's why I was like, oh my god. To me, that was like a Shin Godzilla reference because Shin Godzilla was constantly evolving, and I respected that. I was like, that, you know what? As much as I didn't like that movie, that's dope. I respect it. Thumbs up. You keeping it. Again, just, if you don't know, you won't get it. But if you do know, and people are like, nah, you're bugging. Oh, am I really though? Watch it again. Just look at what's there. Just look at, I didn't make that up. The spines are on the back.
it makes me curious though, because like now I want to see another movie with it. Like, okay, if the Godzilla species, maybe Godzilla's the last, or if they evolved, is that what they evolved into? What's their next evolution? I would like it, but it opens up Pandora's box, and that's why, as much as I hate the Hollow Earth idea, I'm open. I don't like the idea. I think it's dumb. I think it doesn't fit within the realistic tone of the rest of the series.
Well, that's that's Skull Island's fault.
It is, and that's why I'm like, I have to give it shit for it, but it's got me curious.
I like the idea of Hollow Earth because it's not an idea that they just made up. I mean, going back to Jules Verne's, this was always a theory. And I like that they, basically what they're doing is they're introducing stuff people don't want to look or read, right? Look at or read from back in the day, like classic material, and they're introducing it to a new generation in a way that they're going to get into it. Whether it has to do, rip off some Avengers shit. Again, Final Wars. It ripped off everything. Star Wars, Independence Day. I mean, like everything.
The Matrix.
Like it ripped off everything that was relevant for the time, right?
Yeah.
So what's relevant now? Marvel movies. So we got my man looking like Captain America, right? They're in these fucking vehicles that Tony Stark would have invented, right? Like, yeah, let's fucking go. And dude, it's just like Final Wars. And I loved it. I fucking loved it. And even the music. Final Wars, that soundtrack is the most different soundtrack from any fucking Godzilla movie.
And I hate the soundtrack to Final Wars.
I hate it, but there are fucking themes in there. There's certain things that I fucking love. But there's a lot of that synth shit I don't like when the mutants in the beginning in the prologue. Oh, I fucking hate that. But the intro theme, come on, man.
No, that's
that's just dope. And that's the same thing here. You have all of these different fucking themes, and the music is just so different from what we've got in the past 4 films. Godzilla 2014, original fucking score, right?
Yeah.
Kong Skull Island, a lot of Vietnam. There was a dope score too, but for the majority of it was playing, Vietnam.
CCR.
Right, it was really good shit. King of the Monsters, Bear McCreary was like, yo, we're gonna take the original Godzilla scores and we're gonna just amplify them to times 100, which I think is rather pretentious, but that's just me. But then this movie is like, yeah, we're gonna give you a Godzilla theme that's reminiscent of a Godzilla theme, and then we're gonna do our own thing with it, and I loved it. Then we're also gonna give you Tron, and you're like, what? So it's like I said, it's like fucking Final Wars all over again. It's all over the place, and that's why I can't not like this movie. The first time I saw it, I walked out. Right, so check this out. We had back-to-back showings, right? Me and my brother. I bought the tickets for the 3:30 show because it was the earliest one we could get. Then I checked because I'm a freaking nut. I kept checking to see how many people were in the theater to know how many masks I need, right? Because I'm just like, I'm fucking paranoid. Boom, there's a fucking 12:55 show all of a sudden. Wait, what? So I go to it. Nobody's in the theater. I buy tickets. So now I got back-to-back movies. Dolby Theater. Boom. Come out that first showing. We've got about 25 to 30 minutes to chill before the next showing. So we go downstairs to have a drink, and I tell my brother, hey, you know what? Like, if you go home, I wouldn't even be mad. This is how I was feeling. I wouldn't even be mad. I was like, if you want, we could dip right now. He's like, but you bought the tickets. I was like, yeah, I already paid for it. Good. They're going to get the money. But if you want to go home, I ain't mad. He was like, no, let's watch it again. All right, we'll watch it again. Because I came out of it and I was like, I'm okay with it. With King of the Monsters, we did the same thing. We bought back-to-back movies, but we did that on purpose. And when I came out of it the first time, I was like, I need to see that again because I don't know if I liked it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With Kong, I came out of it, with Godzilla vs. Kong, I came out of it and I was like, I don't really need to see it again right now. I think I liked it. But when I saw it the second time, I was like, okay. Then I got in my car after it, came home, boom, let's get ready. Boom, sat down with the wife and daughter. put it on, and again, that was the third time. I've watched it twice since. I love this movie. I don't know what it is. It's that Final Wars aspect. I have no idea. It rocks my world, man. It does.
Yeah.
And in such a weird way. It rocks my world. But again, it's not just... I hear your gripes, but some of it, like Godzilla being bad, no, dude, you're wrong. Because they should have done that in the first one.
They should have. So here's my thing. When I first watched it, I went out to dinner. You know everything I've been going through. We talked about it before. I went out to dinner. I ripped the movie apart. I got to the restaurant, and I kept ripping it apart. And I knew I was like, in an hour, when I was at the restaurant, I'm like, in an hour, I'm going to watch it again. And I'm going to watch it with my buddy. And he likes 2014, and he fucking loves Kong Skull Island. And he didn't like King of the Monsters. He's not a Godzilla fan. He's not even a Marvel fan. He's a DC fan. He likes that dark shit. That's why he likes 2014 and Kong Skull Island. I watched Snyder cut with him. We haven't even seen the original Whedon cut. I've seen enough of it to hate it. I know what's coming. He refused. And I was like, he's going to hate this movie. He's going to hate it. And I know he's going to hate it because as a Godzilla fan, I hated it. And he's a Kong fan. And he loved the Kong aspect. Basically, we almost have the same opinion on it, other than the fact that he doesn't like Godzilla, period. He does not like Godzilla movies. And that's why he likes 2014 so much. He's like, no, it's a fucking great, realistic take. And I, from 2014, love that about all these movies. And when this movie takes that, take away the fact that I had certain expectations that weren't met. That's fine. It was fine with King of the Monsters when I wanted all three of them to team up on Ghidorah, and they didn't. It's fine. Because I was pissed off at that first viewing because it didn't give me what I wanted. But that second time, I fed into it, and I was like, no, hold up. That's good. That's good. Godzilla's bobbing and weaving with King Ghidorah, and Mothra's getting stomped by Rodan, and Rodan sounds weird, but we can get over that.
You would bring that up?
Yeah, right. But with King of the Monsters, that second viewing, I was like, all right, yeah, no, I'm taking back the criticisms for some of it. I still hate the aspects of it that I hate, which is the same, pretty much almost the same shit you hate about King of the Monsters. I don't like, but I can forgive it because I was like, I know what he was doing. It was about the monsters and not the humans, but it was more humans than monsters. And the focus was wrong. And in this movie, when the focus went all on Kong and had 2% Godzilla, which is fine because it's Kong's second movie, it's Godzilla's third. I was okay with that. I was like, no, that works out. It's like fucking, Batman v Superman, kind of,
right.
More Batman, less Superman. I'm okay with that shit.
Superman, right.
Totally okay with it. But the thing that, immediately pissed me off was this, so we're throwing realism out the window. With no fucking warning. It was jarring to me, and it still is. When I, this third time rewatching it, I'm watching the fight, and I love the fight. I do. It reminds me of that old school show of shit, super fast, and fucking everything's going on. It reminds me of, Terror of Mechagodzilla meets Godzilla versus Megalon, and throw in some fucking original King Kong versus Godzilla, and I was like, that's that fight. That's it. And it's super fast. I'm like, I get it. But it wasn't what was established. The monsters are slow and powerful. In this one, Godzilla's crawling on the ground, biting at Godzilla's feet. Fast.
Kong's feet.
Yeah, Kong's feet, sorry. But it's they're doing stuff really fast. I'm like, it's super fast, and it goes back to what I said in the beginning, and it's it's really fast. And they went the science fiction route, which, I'm not entirely opposed to. But when you do it in a series where the previous 3 films didn't necessarily go that far, and I said it in the theater, because I looked over to the X, and I was like, they crossed that line. that line I was worried about with King of the Monsters, that line I was worried about with this movie. And she said, I know. I've been watching you, and I know your feelings. And that was right when they went through that black hole. She's like, I already know how you feel about this movie. I'm like, but then the fights happen. It's almost like conflicting with me. It's conflicting because it's like, it pulls me one direction. Like, oh, I love that old school Godzilla shit. Showa series of Godzilla films is my favorite. It fucking bleeds Showa. Like King of the Monsters did. It is so Showa. But why? Why am I getting pulled in this other direction of, I like Marvel films. I'm not against science fiction. I love science fiction. I love Star Wars. I love Star Trek. Old Star Trek, I mean.
Yeah.
I just bought all the original Planet of the Apes on Blu-ray. I love science fiction. I love that shit so much. And Final Wars is literally my top 5 favorite Godzilla movies. Why? It's not firing on all cylinders for me. And I see the reviews. I see everyone's like, oh my god, it's the best. Even people that fucking hated this series are like, holy shit, it's good. And I'm like, why? And I still don't know why. I didn't grow up because I'm watching fucking Gamera right now, the old show shit on my TV. I got it playing in the background. I didn't grow up. I'm still a child. I got the fucking toys. I've got my Godzilla shit. What is it? Is it the neon, the Tron feel? Is it the music? Is it because it's not what I expected? Or is it because my whole life since I was a kid, I would act like Godzilla, and my brother, my now brother, used to be my sister, would be Kong. Because she or he loved Kong. I love Godzilla. We constantly fucking beat the shit out of each other. And in my head, I had an expectation my whole life. And I'm 27 now. And I remember this shit from when I was like fucking 6, dude. My whole life, I had this expectation of if they ever fought, it's gonna be fucking epic. It's just gonna be over the fucking top. And it's gonna be like a bloodbath between the two. Fucking, they're gonna be, on the ground, and then we get this realistic shit, and I'm like, oh, I love the realism with these movies, and then it's just, it started to fall flat, and I think it was my expectations were too high, because like I said, I'm 27 years old. I just recently had a birthday. I purchased the fucking tickets, like, I think literally the day before. Like, the earliest showing I could get was 3 o'clock. The theater experience was great, by the way. So glad I was able to go back to the theater, because we still got a shit ton closed here in Boise. I actually had to go to the next town over, Meridian, which is like 20 minutes away, to see it. But my whole life expectation, and I think that's why I nitpicked the fuck out of it, because I saw all the different ways they could have fucking taken it, and he didn't. And I was like, okay, you're not going to go that way. Well, that's fine, because King of the Monsters didn't do it. Fuck, 2014 didn't even do it. I thought it was going to be a solo Godzilla film when I first saw the trailer. All right, let's see where it's going. Let's see where it's going. And then it goes this other direction. I'm like, okay, all right, that's fine. And then I saw the first fight between Godzilla and Kong. I'm like, yeah, that was pretty cool. That was pretty epic. It went exactly how I thought it would. Okay, we're not doing a second fight. We're just saving it up for the end. We're in the Hollow Earth now. Alright. I'm a little confused how we jumped so far ahead. In the music, like I said, I don't like that music. That definitely doesn't help. Music, to me, makes or breaks a movie, too.
I agree with you.
Yeah, and if, and I know people enjoy it, me personally, I'm like, it is what it is. The themes were good, from the score for the monsters. And then, we get to Hong Kong, and then Kong's doing the axe stuff. He pulls it out of one Godzilla's ancestors. I was like, yeah, that's a pretty cool nod, It's dope. And I was like, all right, he's sitting on the throne. Okay. Godzilla's shooting it down, all right. And then the fight happens. I'm like, oh my god, the fight's actually fucking happening. Oh. Yeah, I guess I should have thought for a second that Godzilla would have literally stomped his ass into the ground. I mean, it makes sense. This is a cool fight, though. Oh, we're doing Mechagodzilla, awesome. And then, Godzilla, they part as equals. That's cool. Kong's in the Hollow Earth. And we're not getting this again for another 60 years.
We'll all be dead.
I will be dead by the time I get to see the Godzilla vs. Kong movie I thought I was getting. And I want to say this to everyone because everyone's loving it. Right on. I will never take that away from anyone. Just like the whole Snyderverse thing, I thought it was stupid, Return to Snyder Cut. I was like, that's fucking stupid. And then I watched it, I was like, yo, that was fucking excellent. That movie made me now become a DC fan. And with this Godzilla movie, it made me... It made me view this MonsterVerse trilogy as a trilogy. To me, this wasn't connected enough. It didn't follow up. It wasn't consistent. And it hurt. It hurt bad. Like, that's why I sent those voice messages I sent you. I want my Snyder cut now, because that was the Whedon cut to me. That was Whedon. And it's fine for everyone that loves it, and I know I'm wrong. I know I'm wrong. The general consensus speaks for itself. It's being fucking praised, and I'm so glad Godzilla is getting praised finally in these series of films. People are like, fuck, we don't even give a shit about the small human parts. It was fucking good. We don't care that the plot doesn't make sense. It's a fucking Godzilla movie. I'm like, yeah, it is the fourth film in a series where I invested in the story. Even with the minuscule amount of characters there were, I invested in them. And then they just threw it out the fucking window. They threw it all out the fucking window and gave everyone what they wanted. And I'm glad. But for me, I'm ready for a fucking 3-hour, 4-hour cut of this. I'm ready for my Lord of the Rings Godzilla movie. And it's okay. And it's okay. I've seen it 3 times now. I'm going to get the Steelbook because...
The Steelbook is pretty.
It's fucking gorgeous. It's a scene skipper movie for me. It is. And everyone that loves it, Marvel, DC, fucking Matrix, all of these fandoms coming together and they're fucking loving this. Fuck yes, it is what Godzilla's needed. But I'm an old school fan like yourself, and for my opinion, it's so weird. Because, a whole life of expectations for a film, and you're let down. But the fights are fucking cool. And this is my buddy after I saw it the first time, he calls me. He's like, so what'd you think? I was like, I'm not spoiling anything. I was like, the fights were cool. And by the time we were finished with the movie, I was saying the same thing. I was like, well, the fights were cool. And that brings up the question, is that all Godzilla deserves? Are the fights cool?
Well, that's why the greatest Godzilla movie of this fucking generation is still 2014.
And it fucking is. King of the Monsters is my favorite Godzilla movie of all time, hands down, because the focus is on Godzilla.
No, it's not, though.
Well, it isn't, but for me, I was like, it's his story. And I'm not saying this because fucking Kong got more screen time. I love Kong.
No, I got you.
Yeah, I like that. It's weird because I'm the polar opposite on this movie that I am King of the Monsters. Just like you are the polar opposite of me. It is so fucking weird how it played out. But 2014 as a film with characters and a story, excellent cinematography, direction. I do wish... I don't know. I believe Aaron Taylor Johnson as a U.S. soldier because my dad is a United States soldier. That's how they are.
I believe it.
And it's like everyone gives the movie shit. I was like, no. That's how soldiers are. They're like, we need to get a job done. That's how it is. I grew up with it. I get it, and a lot of people don't. It's like, all right, it's fine. I can't defend 2014 anymore because I'm so fucking old now. You know, it's like when 2014 came out, I go, that was a while ago for me, man.
Yeah, you kill me. You kill me. Oh, I'm so old. I'm 27, and I'm over here 41, going on 42. Fuck you, man.
Right?
Fuck you.
But 2014 as a film is so good. It's so good, and it is the best out of the series by far. Kong Skull Island is such a stylistic movie. Style, presentation, fucking feels great. And it's a great Vietnam movie. We don't get enough of those.
No, we don't. And Vietnam,
we really don't.
That's one of my favorite, like, war film. Man, yeah, I agree.
It just is. And I'm surprised no one thought of that sooner, too. Like, Viet Cong. Kong.
Yeah.
But stylistically, Kong Skull Island, fucking amazing. Yeah, the characters are weak, but I get their motivations, and I'm along with the ride. John C. Reilly steals the show, of course. And then King of the Monsters.
You know what kills me real quick? You know what kills me?
Yeah.
You hate Marvel movies, yet Kong Skull Island is nothing but a Marvel movie. Every character in it is from a Marvel movie. Drives me nuts.
Do you know what Marvel movies I like? And I've had this discussion with people I've come across, but I don't think I've ever had the discussion with you. I like Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. I liked Avengers. Never saw Age of Ultron. I just figured it was meh. I liked Doctor Strange.
Oof. All right, that's where you're wrong. Okay, goodbye.
No, I liked
podcast.
I liked it because of the ideas it presented for the series. I liked Thor Ragnarok. I liked Avengers Infinity War.
That's my favorite one.
And the reason I've come to realize with those movies why I like them is, you know, James Gunn's great. I've been a fan of his for a while. I have Slither Collector's Edition. It's a horror movie. It's really good.
Slither's great. So I didn't.
Oh, yeah. I'm a fan of James Gunn. I like his films, and I like the Guardians. Now there's a ragtag team. Awesome. And the first Avengers, of course, I watched all the other movies before it came out, and I was like, yeah, that's fucking cool. And then Thor Ragnarok, because it's like, I like the director. He did What We Do in the Shadows, and it was Thor being funny. I really enjoyed that. I liked the ideas it presented. And the reason why I liked Infinity War is because it kind of restrained itself from the goofy shit.
Oh, yeah.
And it presented that it kind of real, I'm going to use real very fucking loosely here, but it felt like believable, if that makes sense. I felt like, yeah, fuck yeah, giant space purple man getting reality destroying stones and just wipes them all out. Of course it's gonna happen, and that's why I think I like this so much as opposed to Endgame, where I'm like, yeah, time travel, bro, really, we're going there. I like Back to the Future.
I get you.
My head hurts.
You hate wormholes. I got it.
Yeah.
You hate wormholes. You hate Kong Skull Island. I mean, Godzilla vs. Kong because of wormholes. You hate Avengers Endgame because of wormholes. I got it. But I also got this from what you just said. Your entire last 15, 20 minutes almost.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go back to the Kong Skull Island review, something that always stuck out in my head.
Okay.
You like the gore. I ain't mad at you. I like the gore too. You love the Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut was a hard-R, gory movie. I ain't mad at you, because I love that shit. I watched all 4 hours in one sitting. I said, we doing this. And I fucking loved it. And I liked the fucking Whedon Cut up until I saw the Snyder Cut.
Yeah,
I defended that movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You like the gore. There was no gore in this movie at all. There was nothing like that. King of the Monsters, which I still, like, I respect your opinion, but I don't understand it because you talk about going far left from what the original set up. This is it. And all Godzilla vs. Kong set up or did was continue from that thread and go to the next logical point from where that movie left off, because they already pushed the boundaries. They pushed it off the fucking cliff. They pushed it off a cliff. So what they do in Godzilla vs. Kong? They create the heave to fly back up out
you mean
of the cliff.
Super X?
I mean the Super X, yes sir. To fly out the cliff. But again, this is not me trying to convince you of
no.
your feelings and that you're wrong, because you're not, but you are, but you're not. You know what I mean? This movie, I mean, dude, again, 2014, I know, I am in the minority. Everybody don't really like that movie. I love that movie. I love the realism of that movie. Again, like you said, with you and your brother, who used to be formerly your sister, I respect that, by the way. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Playing Godzilla vs. Kong when y'all were children. That was dope, because when I was a kid, back in New York, I'd run around when it was fucking snow on the ground pretending I was Godzilla, blowing vapor out of my mouth and crushing the snow like they were buildings. I used to sit up on my rooftop and look at the New York City skyline and be like, I wonder if the Twin Towers would be there. If Godzilla really popped up out of the Hudson River. And then guess what? One day, in 2001, the fucking Twin Towers fell down. And I was still there, in my place.
Yeah.
And I go to my roof and the skyline's different. And I was like, I don't know if I want to see that anymore. Like, that's fucked up,
Yeah.
But then we get the realistic take in 2014. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I do want to see that. And Kong Skull Island, even though it's not a Godzilla movie, kind of set a tone going forward that was drastically different.
Yeah.
And King of the Monsters continued that and took it to another level. And that burnt me so much. I enjoy the movie. I do. To me, Skull Island is my least favorite one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But after seeing Godzilla vs. Kong, King of the Monsters has dropped so... I mean, like, I don't even think of these movies anymore as the same fucking... like, in the same universe. It's a seesaw now. This is realistic, and then here's the polar opposite. And I respect that, but because of King of the Monsters, that movie set it up, and Godzilla vs. Kong just took it to the next level, the way King of the Monsters took what Skull Island set up to the next level. And that was, and that's, like, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they were working on Nargo, a fucking craft that was, first off, a fucking base. It was like G.I. Joe, right? Cobra's flowing base. That's exactly what it was. The oxygen destroyer comes out of nowhere. Like, all of these things. Like, out of nowhere. Now, as a fan, you know what it is, right?
Oh, yeah.
But if I wasn't a fan, I'd be like, what the fuck is that? Really? What? Okay. Oh, I'm going to buy it. Godzilla vs. Kong did nothing different from that. All they did was change the music. That's all they did was change the music. I agree with some of the stuff when you talk about the speed of the monsters. In Skull Island, Kong takes off full sprint.
Oh, yeah.
Full sprint. This motherfucker's Kratos in Skull Island, and then he's PS4 Kratos in Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah.
He's Kratos. He's Kratos Kong. Godzilla going fast? I can't knock it because they established that in King of the Monsters. They established it. So giving him extra speed, to me, doesn't make a difference because I've been established already, Godzilla goes fast. He can go fast. We didn't see his full speed clock yet.
Yeah.
When Mechagodzilla pops up, that's Godzilla he's already targeting that thing. But there's no doubt in my mind he didn't sense that, oh shit, this motherfucker's back, King Ghidorah. You know what I mean? And it's the same charge, it's just a little faster and a little leaner. That was the thing too. But again, this ain't me trying to change your mind.
Oh no.
All I'm saying is, this movie's on HBO Max for a whole month.
I'm gonna watch it
Watch it as much as you feel necessary. And start breaking down the things you actually did like and try to expand on it. I'm not trying to change your mind whether you like it or not. Yeah. Because nobody can change my mind about Shin Godzilla. Every time I watch that movie, I get high blood pressure and my arm starts to hurt. It's amazing. I'm not making... I watched it over the summer. I was like, oh shit, I'm having a heart attack. God gets so mad at that movie. If this movie makes you feel like that, I ain't even mad at you.
So, I got a question for you, and it's something I said when coming out of King of the Monsters the first time, but I keep saying it. Do you think King of the Monsters blew the load too early for Godzilla vs. Kong?
As far as what?
Catastrophe, general one-upness?
No, I don't. I would have rather you see how you say you want the Snyder cut of GVK?
Yeah.
I'd rather have the Edwards cut of King of the Monsters.
Oh, that'd be so good.
That's the one I wanted because he was saying that.
Good.
He was saying that after 2014, you know what ruined Gareth Edwards? Star Wars Rogue One.
Yeah.
If he didn't do that movie, we would have had Gareth Edwards, King of the Monsters. We would have had that.
That would have been fucking amazing.
And that would have been the same. It would have been baseline. I really do love that movie. I do, but I hate the fucking retarded humor in that movie. It doesn't fit. And then, no, it really is just the music. The humor and the music takes me out. But as far as like the story, like I ain't mad at the Orca at all. Yeah. I respect what Vera Farmiga is trying to do. And I get it. Like, yeah, you know what? Humanity is killing the Earth. We need to bring this shit back a bit. We need to step it back a bit. No one's going to listen to us, so we'll have the Titans do it for us. I'm okay with that. The same way I'm okay with this dude from Apex saying humanity is the apex predator, not no stupid-ass lizard. I'm okay with that. It makes sense to me. Like, both things make sense. The difference between the two was one thought it was campy, and it wasn't. It was cringy. The other one went campy and actually kept it, like, streamlined, even though it went to a different level. But the first one, the last movie, its predecessor, set up every idea that came from Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, while Godzilla vs. Kong coming out makes me knock King of the Monsters down a couple of notches, I can't disrespect that movie because that's what it set up.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of King of the Monsters is Batman v Superman, and Godzilla vs. Kong is Justice League. That's how I feel about it.
But it's the Snyder cut of Justice League.
Yeah.
Because BVS, I can't stand BVS. I hate that movie.
Just take that aside. That's how it feels for me a little bit. But it's, like I said, it's weird. Now, I'm going to talk about this. I am going to give it another shot. A few more. Who knows? My opinion's changed many times. I hate Shin Godzilla. I fucking hate that movie. But I do like the destruction scenes now. I've started to warm up to the design more, too.
Oh, I can never do that. But the destruction is nice.
It's weird for me because I started to loosen up on it in that aspect, but the rest of it, I'm like, fuck, you're dumb. And then he's just doing it again with Shin Ultraman.
I think that's going to be way different. I
hope so.
Honestly, I think he's going to give Ultraman the fucking respect it deserves, the way he should have given Godzilla the respect it deserves. But again, I'm in the minority in that because apparently it won like an Academy Award for Japan being the best picture of the year. Okay, whatever.
I guess you and me are just retarded.
yeah. Or we might not be, Japanese left enough. I don't know.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But I'm gonna give it more chances. Like I said, I hated Godzilla vs. Kong for the reasons I have stated. And I'm sure there's more. I've just, like I said, I gotta watch it more. But there are the things that I like about it, I fucking love about it. It's like the things I hate about it, I really hate. I'm like, no, I don't fucking like that. My opinion on it's going to be hard to sway me. But the things I love, I'm like, dude, no, that's fucking genuinely badass. When Godzilla's stomping fucking Kong into the ground and he fucking gets in his face and roars, and Kong hesitates. He's like, I should just back down. Fuck you! Starts screaming back. And then fucking Godzilla stomps on him a little bit more and then gets off and fucking spits.
And then Kong dies.
Yeah, I love that shit. Oh, by the way, yeah, I was Team Godzilla, and I'm glad. Like, I'm shit-faced Kong, obviously, for everything. But I love the fact that I was rooting for Godzilla. I'm glad he did win. Because in my mind, I was like, nah, in my mind, it was how it was going to play out. Nah, Godzilla's going to die. Kong's going to win. It's just how it is. Holy fuck! The monkey learned today!
That's what I told my brother. When Godzilla fucking straight up owned Kong, and was like, stay down. I was like, this is dope. But John, remember one thing. The last time Godzilla was in Hong Kong in a movie, he died. I was like, shit, he's gonna die. I was so scared. I was like, oh my God, Mechagodzilla's always kicking Godzilla's ass. He killed him in 93. He's gonna kill him again. Fuck. But thank God that didn't happen.
So, my opinion, my rating of this movie has changed. When I first saw it, I gave it a 2 out of 5. I was like, fuck this movie. It has gone up to a 3.
Okay.
Since the other day. Just because and I'm going to talk about it because when I originally saw it, it was in a movie theater. It was in 4K on a projector, but, 4K on a projector versus 4K on a TV with HDR, and a different feeling. So it was hard to make out a lot of the shit. And then I watched it on a 1080p projector that my buddy has with 5.1 surround sound. It's like, it's so hard to make some stuff out. Like, maybe it's just the things I'm watching it on. And then watching it on my 4K TV with HDR, with the 7.1, it really helped alleviate a lot of the problems I had with, like, CG. Because I was saying, when I first came out, like, why the fuck did Godzilla look so fake? And I'm like, oh, that's why. Because everything that I was watching it on felt oversaturated.
Gotcha.
Whereas I have my TV to be really colorful with its HDR. It's vivid. All the colors pop a lot more. It feels a lot better. Looks a lot nicer. And I enjoyed the fight way more this time around watching it on my setup. So, and that was a complaint I might have sent you. I can't remember if I did, just saying, no, CG looked awful. But it actually looks a lot better. So it was the medium I was watching it on. And I feel like if I do it again from start to finish, I might loosen up on the movie a bit. But, my criticisms of the things I hate about it will probably stay. It went up a fucking point just for the visuals on my TV alone. I was like, it looks way better. Holy shit. So it's one of those movies where I know I'm the minority. I didn't like it. It's a 3 out of 5 for me, where everyone's giving it fucking 80s. 80%. I'm like, 60. It is what it is. 50, 60. So I'm the wrong one. And then, just like, it also feels like, because I have talked to a few people on Facebook that felt the same way that I did, they're loosening up on it already. They're like, no, I fucking hate it. I've seen it 4 times. I fucking hate it. Now they're like, it's not as bad as I thought it was. But I feel like I'm going to go down that same route. Not because I'm weak-minded and change my opinion. I flip-flop all the time or anything like that. It's because I had an expectation that wasn't met.
Right.
And once I let that go, I feel like I'll enjoy it a lot more. Now, is it the definitive Godzilla vs. Kong?
I think
I'd love to see another one.
I know you would, but again, like I said, you want the violence. You loved when Kong ripped the Skullcrawler's throat out. Yeah, I thought it was whack. I was like, man, all right, whatever.
Whatever. Kong was eating brains in this movie.
Yeah, it definitely was. And I was like, look at that callback. All right, because it's a callback to Skull Island. He's just eating shit. I like that. But yeah, that's what you want. You want to see more violent gore.
Yeah.
I was satisfied with Godzilla ripping Kong's chest up. I was like, oh shit.
I thoroughly, like I said, I would have enjoyed Kong just ripping a dorsal plate out. Just go to that extent to show, like, I don't know. But I do like, and I'm starting to warm up on that idea more, that Godzilla put him down. Fairly fucking easy. And it's like, to me it was like, no, it can't happen. But it's kind of like a no shit.
You're right.
Like, what the fuck? He was never gonna stand a fucking chance. And that's where my mindset's starting to go. It's like, that's where that disappointment starts to fade away. Like, no, that actually does fucking make sense. One did fall, and he fell pretty hard. And it wasn't even Godzilla's full strength.
No.
Not even close.
Godzilla could have vaporized Kong right there.
Oh, yeah. But he chose not to.
And he chose not to. He recognized a worthy opponent, but the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, Kong died 3 times in that movie. And all 3 times, the human saved him.
Yeah.
Because he was getting drowned, depth charge. He was getting smothered by the Warbat, missiles. He straight up had a fucking coronary against Godzilla. King Kong lives. I'm just saying. I ain't mad at it. I'm not mad at it. But, man, when I tell you, was I happy? When I saw that shit at home, after the 2 times in the theater, and Godzilla put Kong down, I got up and I did a dance.
Right? Well, okay, so real quick, in the theater, when Godzilla finally put him down, when I said out loud, "That monkey learned today," I had the audience laughing. Because that's how it is. When you go to a movie theater with me, I'm tame. Except with these Godzilla movies, I get into them, and then I say, it's just like King of the Monsters. I made people laugh. 2014, I made people laugh. Skull Island, I made people laugh. And it's just a fault of mine. It's just like when I get into it, I forget. When I say something out loud and people fucking laugh. I've never been told to shut the fuck up or no one get mad. It's just the occasional offhanded comment. And, by the way, how ridiculous is the trailer to Fast and Furious 9?
Oh, my God. Even my brother, who's a fan of that series, was like, nope. He was like, nope.
In tears when Dominic hooked the fucking rope.
That's it right there. I was like, wait a minute. This motherfucker just became Indiana Jones in the car? Come on, man. Come on.
Dude, I was in tears laughing so hard. Like, the ex was like, you need to stop it. You're going to get us in trouble. I'm like, I'm fucking retarded. What am I saying?
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, thank you. I have to say thank you for letting me voice my opinion. I know I was all over the place. I thought about writing fucking script, bullet points and everything, but I feel more natural doing it this way. I voiced my opinion, my feelings on it, and I have, I've been doing it for the past few days. I softened up towards the end of yesterday. I was like, I just don't want to talk about it kind of deal. And now I'm glad I got it out. And, watching it again, getting some of that, and again, getting your guys' takes on it too. Because that's the thing. I watched it with people that hated it, just like I did. Watching it with, or listening to the people that I give a shit about, telling me how they loved it, it helps. Because now I know where you guys are coming from with it, and then I can see it like, okay, that does make sense. That does, maybe I'm wrong, or it doesn't change my opinion, but I have that in my mind now. It's there. So now when I'm like, man, fuck the Hollow Earth, it's stupid. Wait, hold up. You gotta look at the grand scheme of things. Look at what King of the Monsters set up. We can go from there, Just, it helps me ease up on it. It's like I said, when I walked out of a theater, I was a lot of F-bombs and a lot of fucking slamming shit. Because I was like, fuck.
Yeah. Well, when I walked out of the theater, I bought a fucking $15 beer. I was pissed off. I was like, man, this shit costs like 69 cents. Oh, whatever. Go.
Right? But this was fun. Thanks again.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Thank you. I'm glad that we didn't have to do the Mechagodzilla way. You know what I'm saying? Like, the autonomous way, we can have the conversation.
It was more organic to do it like this. We could talk back and forth. I think, most of my points. If I end up forgetting some, they come back later. It is what it is.
We'll do it on the 4K Steelbook review.
Yeah, right? Fucking, oh my God. See, HBO Max didn't fucking have Dolby.
Well, no, I will say this. I agree with you because when I saw it twice in Dolby Theater, right? Back to back. And the reason why I chose the Dolby was because when I saw King of the Monsters there, it raped my eyeballs.
Yeah.
It raped all of my senses. I was like, oh, fuck. So I bought it. And I don't know, maybe it's because I haven't been to a movie theater in so long, whatever the case may be, maybe because of the pandemic. The sound was so fucking amazing. Our seats were shaking.
Yeah.
But the picture quality was okay.
It was weird.
But when I came home and watched that shit on my 4K, I was like, wait a minute. It's a whole nother movie. And but I mean, like, I saw everything. Like, the only thing I made reference to was when Godzilla shoots the beam up at the ship and Kong jumps off in the theater, he's like 12 feet tall. I've got a 65-inch screen. And on my 65-inch screen, he's like 1 inch tall. I was like, what? It was so funny.
That was a funny fucking... I know it was kind of cool, but it was a funny shot just looking at us. He's like, oh, shit.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that long... Like, they do... He jumps up, and then they do they pan out, do a far shot.
Yeah.
In the theater, you could see Kong jumping off the ship. At home, and again, I got a 65-inch... He was so tiny. I was like, oh, my God. So that distinctively stuck out. But honestly, on my TV, It looks fantastic, and I'm actually going back to watch it right now. My kid is out. Me and my wife are going to sit down, and we're going to watch it again. Mine for the 6th time, her for the 2nd, and I cannot wait. So, brother, thank you so much for giving your fucking view on this movie. I appreciate it, and even though you're wrong, in my personal opinion, you are right to others. So, I respect it.
Hey, it was nice to be on here. Looks like you and me are going to have a Godzilla vs. Kong of our own, huh?
We sure are, but just remember, I'm Team Goji all the way, motherfucker.
How's that going to work? So am I. What the fuck?
No, but I'm older than you, so that's that's what happens. Godzilla's older than me. I'm just saying. I got to let my nails grow.
I guess I'm the underdog ape, huh? Who loses? Damn it.
But no, seriously, brother, thank you so much for doing this with me, man.
Hey, it was a pleasure, man. Thank you for letting me voice my opinion on this shit. You know, it gets a little sappy, but, you know, it's just from my childhood up till now. I gotta get it out.
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, if we weren't fans, we wouldn't be doing this. And we've been a part of the fandom since we were young. And yeah. So, yes, thank you, brother JR. I want to thank everybody out there for listening. I am G1. This is the Godzilla Block Party, and we are out of here. Peace.